Alright, I got something to say real fast. So, y'all niggas listen to Kevin Samuel giving y'all advice on how to deal with women. I mean, I find this unbelievable. But you know what? At the same time, I do find it believable. So y'all listen to this nigga who sit up here and cuss out women, get mad with women because they disagree with his goofy ass. And y'all listen to this man. Y'all listen to this man like he's some type of God, like he got all the answers. What the fuck is wrong with y'all niggas? This man told this woman, I watched this little video where he told this woman that she's supposed to walk behind her man. What, nigga, what kind of shit you on? Then, nigga gonna say the reason why men leave the family because you women are unruly. Nigga, what? Nigga, that ain't always the case. And then the girl was telling her story about how she was growing up and she was witnessing her father and her grandfather. They would take care of the household, but they'll go out here and fuck around with other women and take advantage of them. Well, you should have stayed in the child place. What? And y'all niggas listen to this shit. Y'all listen to some bullshit. First and foremost, let me say this. A woman don't have to walk behind no fucking man. Okay? She don't have to do that. That's bullshit. When it come down to protection, either one, two things that man better know how to do. He better know how to fight, or he better know how to shoot. Now, the only time she should be walking behind her man or be behind her man is when it come down to that protection point. And he telling women that you're gonna die single and lonely and all that shit. Who is this man? Tell somebody that shit. And y'all niggas think that he really the shit, like he's saying the shit. No, he's not. He ain't saying nothing. He ain't teaching y'all how to demonstrate leadership. Because let's be straight up, a lot of men don't know how to be leaders. They want women to follow their lead and listen to what they got to say and all that. But many of them don't have leadership qualities. They don't have leadership qualities. They don't have that type of skills. These type of men today, they will put women down in the path of destruction. A lot of them would. They will put women down to the path of destruction because a lot of them don't have what it takes to bring about leadership. A lot of them don't even have self-control. If you don't have enough self-control and self-discipline and have authority over yourself, how you going to demonstrate leadership to that woman? How you going to demonstrate leadership to her? How you going to tell her how to follow your lead when you don't know what the fuck you doing? And half of these men can't keep themselves out of trouble long enough for a woman to follow them. I wouldn't want to follow down no path of a man that don't know what the hell he doing. If he live a destructive lifestyle, why in the hell should I follow him? If this man is already corrupted psychologically, why should I follow him? There are men out there who are psychologically corrupted and fucked up in the head and think that they look like they're very normal or they're very sane and calm, but when you get to know them, their psychology is fucked up. So some men ain't in a position to be trying to lead no woman. Some men don't even have what it takes to be women. And you talking about high value men. Well, what does a high value man look like? And what are you basing it off of? Like, what standards are you basing it off of? When we talk about high value men, what standards are you basing that off of? Are you basing it off the African standard or the European standard? Because if you base it, when I say European standard, I'm talking about Western standard. So if you're basing it off of the Western standard of what a high value man is and what a man is, then it's kind of detrimental. It's kind of detrimental in a sense, because if you're basing it solely off their philosophy, right? Those men, they were just as corrupted. They were some of them were very abusive to their women. Some of them treat their women like shit. So some of those men, they were very corrupted. So you won't take too much advice from somebody that's European or you follow European standards. But then again, we live in a Western culture. So from what I'm assuming, he's speaking on the social standard of this society, the culture standard of this society, which is predicated upon the Eurocentric philosophy. And let's be honest, because he can't be talking about African center, because obviously he doesn't seem like he's that African center type. And again, many of us don't even know what it's like to be in the African center culture anyway, because we don't live in an African center society. The thing is, it's funny that he can give advice to men on how to go about dealing with women, but don't give advice to men on how to go about bringing about leadership qualities and setting standards as men. You know what I'm saying? It's just really funny to me. I mean, now, he probably done made some videos, but, it's people like him and Tommy and all these other guys, they get a kick out of antagonizing black women. They get a kick out of that. Like, it's very easy to do. Well, you black women are unruly. Okay, see, you got women out there that are very unruly. You got women who are very condescending, who are very conniving, low down, and dirty. I get that. I agree with that. But then you got to look at the men. You got men who are low down and dirty as well. But then we have to go back into understanding what type of culture do we live in. See, we have to understand the culture. And as black people, we were brought up on the state of confusion when it came to this culture. I'm going to be honest, because let's go way back. Let's go back to the time when our ancestors were brought here into America. Okay? And you might ask, well, what they got to do with it? They got a whole lot to do with it, because this is where the pathology come into place. This is where the stereotypes come into place. This is where the social engineering come into place. This is where the social construct come into place. So what happened was, because not only we were brought here, our ancestors were brought here against their own will, they were forced to take on ideology that was set by those who had oppressed them. So, and most of those ideology was predicated upon stereotypes about them that they never knew of. They didn't know they were niggers. They didn't know they were Jezebels. They didn't know they were bitches and all of that shit. So they took on those stereotypes later on, and they started to say, okay, well, if that's what we are, then I guess that's what we are, because ain't nothing really positive about black people ever since we got in this country. We was always looked at as something negative, or looked at as a minority, or lesser than. So not only that, social engineering, being a product of this society, has created an internal conflict. When I say internal conflict, not just black men versus black men, light skin versus dark skin, black women versus black men, because we have no understanding of how do we go about living in a productive life in a society such as America. We're not in our culture, right? We don't practice the tradition of our ancestral culture. And not saying that the people in the native land was perfect, because they wasn't. They did a lot of corrupted things too. And we have to be honest about that. But what I'm saying is, we don't live in a culture that's centered around our ancestors' culture. So we're trying to figure it out ourselves. We're caught up in this. We dealing with the effects, the post-slavery syndrome. That's what we're dealing with. We're dealing with the aftermaths. So we've been affected later on down the line, both men and women. Once we get the understanding of where our mentality and our behavior come from and why we act the way we do, once we get that understanding that by us being a product of this society, by us being a product of oppression, by us dealing with systemic racism and dealing with social stigmas, once we understand that, then we can have a better understanding of the psychological behaviors that is around us. Then you can say that, okay, we have to take on the accountability to be able to learn and to be able to acquire better knowledge and better discipline. So at the end of the day, yes, you are responsible for your development. You are responsible for learning. You are responsible for growing. But just know this, everybody is not going to develop themselves. Everybody is not going to change. You know what I'm saying? So everybody ain't qualified to be leaders. So we get this idea of dominant, subordinate, but we don't know how to apply those principles. We don't know how it's supposed to be done. Many of our brothers, they don't understand. They don't get it. Yeah, they know they got to take care of the family, but they don't know how to go about properly leading a family. Let's be honest. Me and them don't know how to do it. Because me and them didn't have father figures around. And it wasn't always because their mother was very unruly towards the father. The mother was always disrespectful. You had men who was messing around on their wives and having relationship with other women and getting them pregnant and leaving them. And the moment that the woman tells them, hey, I'm pregnant, they don't want to be bothered. They don't want to have nothing to do with that. See, that's the part that we don't have that conversation about. We want to just look at things from one side. We want to say that, oh, this is, now it goes down to the blame game. The blame game is the black woman's fault because the black man leaving the family and the black man is not around and she's so unruly. And without just saying, okay, well, let's look at both sides of things. We can't just solely blame the issue of single parenting on black women. That's not fair. That's not right. It ain't fair to the black woman. Because single parenting is not just a black woman's fault. We gotta look at, if you look at the lives of individuals and have conversation with them, then maybe you get to find out the answer. Other than that, you can't always assume that it's just one side of things and not look at the whole dimension. Yes, you got women that are unruly. Yes, you got women that have put the men out, especially if he can't afford the money to take care of the child. Yes, you got women who won't allow the men be in their kids' lives because they want child support from them or that man don't want to be with them. Yes, you got women like that. I agree. We won't deny that. But then you also got men who don't want to have any type of responsibility or don't want to do anything regarding to a child. You have men who would just leave their family and don't give no type of explanation why. Because they dealing with some type of internal issue or they just don't want to be there anymore and they decide that the best thing for them to do is move on or leave the family behind and leave the family to struggle. So it's a lot of things. It's more so the psychology of things. We have to look at that. Now, I like Sister what's her name? Sister Sherazad. I think that's her name, Sherazad. Yeah, Sister Sherazad Ali. I like her, but there's some things I disagree with her on too. There's some things I disagree with her on because, you know, she's looking at things from just one side. And it's like she's blaming a lot on black women instead of really like dealing with the fact that we are product of society and not looking at the multi-dimensional concept of things, but just solely blaming things on women. And I think she was doing that because it was her way to promote her damn book. I think that it was just about bringing more promotion. So, you know, when you write books like this, right, and to make it more interesting, you got to bring about more controversy. And you bring more controversy, sometimes you can do it through lying, through spreading propaganda, and things of that nature. So I think because it's easy for her to say that black women, we so this, we so that, we disobey the authority of the black man, and not even looking at the multi-dimensional concept of why many black women may rebel against black men, or why black women and black men don't have a great relationship. But from her case, she blamed most of the problem on black women, and that's not fair. You don't blame all the problem on black women. All right? Most of the problem is not on black women. Now, I can say that there are black women that do play a part in it, but most of it ain't black women's fault. And most of it ain't black men's fault. It's a community issue. It's a psychological disorder that we have as a community. We have a psychological disorder, which destroyed the family dichotomy. That not the dichotomy. That destroys the family dynamics. So with the psychological disorder that's taking place from both sides, not just women, but also men, can destroy the family dynamics. See, you got to deal with the psychology. If you don't deal with the psychology, then you're going to tend to make an assumption about, you know, well, because this group of women over here or these few women did this, that means that all of them is doing the same thing. Or they are, you make that type of generalization, and that could be a false generalization. That's just like me saying that because I'm in a relationship with a man, and I have a bad relationship with this man over here and that man over there, then I all of a sudden make a generalization that all men are like that, or men in general are like that. No, because every man in general is not the same, and every woman is not the same. Okay? And then we got to get out that habit thinking that everybody is the same. So everybody have different problems, different psychological issues. But what we have in common is our experience being in this society. So we all are a product of society. We are a product of this culture. So by us being a product of this culture, as African American men and women, we're going to have a hard time trying to adjust and trying to figure things out, because we still trying to figure out answer about who we are and where we come from and how our family structure is. A lot of us come from broken homes. So by a lot of us come from broken homes, that's another issue, because that creates the pathology. So a lot of us haven't figured out, well, what role do we play in society? What am I supposed to do? You try to be a productive citizen. That's not always good enough, because we still fall victim to police brutality. You know, many of us can't get loans for houses, and when we do get loans, they want to charge you interest for it. Many men stay incarcerated, and women, but in this case, mostly men, they stay incarcerated. And it seems like when they get out of jail or get out of prison, it's like trouble follows them everywhere they go. And then you got many who turn to the streets to look for foundation, and they end up into the detrimental lifestyle that can damage their family forever. Let's talk about the deaths that takes place in our community, the gun violence that's happening. We need to have that conversation too, on why so many men are not in the household with women. And you ain't got that many black men that are very wealthy or that are, you know, in the upper class community. You don't find that many black men like that. You don't find too many black women that lives in the upper class community. Unless they famous. Unless they got some type of multi-million-dollar business. But ain't very many got multi-million-dollar business. Ain't very many that are famous that lives in the upper class community. So they don't make a lot of income on that level. So again, we have to look at all the problems that's really happening that plays a major factor into the family dichotomies, especially when it takes place with the black family. We have to look at all these different things. Right. You're right, Sarah. You're right. You're right. Somebody put, we have to know who we are to know where we're going. Life is not easy. We need to stick together. That's right. Life is not easy. It's not. I mean, because the reason why I say it's not easy, because based on the culture that we live in, based on the laws that has been put into place, it's not easy. Hell, now you got it where, you know, it's hard for you to even raise your own kids. The reason why I say it's hard for you to raise your own kids, because you got society telling you how to raise your damn kids. And what standard you supposed to set for them? They don't even want you to discipline your children, because if you discipline your children, mean like if you whoop your kids, guess what's going to happen? That falls back on your lap. You're going to get in trouble with the law. So we trying to figure this thing out. We trying to figure out, how do we live in a productive lifestyle? How do you stay productive in a society like America? How do you keep up with the productivity? So I'm not making an excuse of saying that the behaviors that are detrimental needs to be accepted. No. But we have to look at where these problems come from. We got to look at the psychology. We got to deal with the anthropology. We got to deal with all of that. We can't just do the blame game. We can't just say, oh, I'm going to blame it on black women and say black women are the main problem. I'm going to blame it on black men and just say black men are the main problem. Because that's the problem I be having with Cynthia G. You know what I'm saying? I understand that she makes some great points. Don't get me wrong. The sister make a lot of great points. But at the same time, when you watch her video, it seems like she just come off bashing men. And just bashing men. Bashing black men all day long. Okay, it's like, okay, so what's the practical solution? If you're going to sit here and bash men all day, well, what's your solution, Cynthia? We know that a lot of these men are fucked up, okay? So what's the solution? Same question I would ask Kevin Samuel. What's the solution? What's the solution to make us greater and make us better? Well, how should we go about dealing with that? The question I would ask to Tommy Sotomayor. What's the solution? What solution do you have? What practical solution do you have? Because we can talk about problems, and we need to address the problems. Now, the question is what the solution is. I mean, and how do we go about bringing those solutions? But I just wanted to come on here and give my thoughts. But yeah, y'all gotta be careful who y'all listening to out here, man. I mean, but if that's who y'all want to entertain to, y'all want to listen to Kevin Samuel, okay, do your thing. Go ahead and listen to him. If y'all want to sit up here and listen to Cynthia G all day, go ahead and listen to her. If y'all want to listen to Thomas Sotomayor and many others, y'all go ahead. Y'all have the right to choose who y'all want to listen to. Y'all have that right. But what I'm saying is be careful of the advice that y'all taking. Because they might be speaking from their opinion, their point of view. And a lot of times they do. I mean, there are facts, but then there are opinions. You know? And what my solution would be is that we just need to start being more mindful and be more educated. I always say education is a solution. Now, everybody may not want to take that advice from me, but that's the key thing. Education is a solution because you'll be able to enlighten yourself about yourself, the society that you live in, and the culture that you're living in. And if you enlighten yourself about history, if you enlighten yourself about psychology, anthropology, sociology, and go through some process of healing, if you go through the process of healing, then you'll be able to get a better, understanding. You'll have a clear conscience. Now, you will not be able to totally detach yourself from this system because at the end of the day, you're still a part of the system. You're still a part of the system regardless. Even if you go somewhere else, you're still a part of the system. You know, so you really can't detach yourself from it. But you can incorporate other knowledge and you can elevate your mind. That's what you can do. Yeah. But I just thought it was very baffling. I thought it was funny that we sit there and we listen to somebody like Kevin Samuels. But hey, that's what people want to listen to. That's what people want to entertain to. It is what it is. You know, I just wanted to give my 2 cents on that. But anyways, this your girl Tiffany. And make sure you guys check out my channel, which is the Tiffany French channel on YouTube. So please check it out, where I have a lot of content dealing with Black history, particularly, and current events and other subject matters. So go ahead and check out my content, check out my videos on YouTube. Shout out to the people that have been subscribing to my channel. Thank you guys so much. And also, this is my new Facebook page because my other one is blocked for the next 20 some odd days. So it's going to be a while before I get to my main page on Facebook. But this is my this is my little, you know, backup page or whatnot. So, but anyways, thank you guys for being supportive, checking out my channels, liking my channel, sharing my videos. For those of you that's been out there, I appreciate it. Until then, please take it easy on yourself and be careful. And I'll talk to y'all later. Peace and power and elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany. I'm out.